Hello, Closet Cast. Welcome to the first ever joint episode. I have my sister.
Hi,
Yeah,
I'm Chloe.
yeah, she's Chloe, and so yeah, we're gonna be having a joint episode. She's the first ever guest I've had on this show. Yeah, in this new setup, we are not in a closet anymore.
We're in her dad's basement.
Woo! We're moving so far up in the world, guys. You have absolutely no idea. Anyways, Chloe, how have you been today?
I've been pretty good. We got ice cream like a couple hours ago. I was just FaceTiming my friend, and then I was like, I gotta go. I'm filming a podcast, and so here I am.
Oh, I see. All right. Well, so you've had an eventful past few weeks. You were at Sleepaway camp for 4 weeks. And how many years has it been now? Like 5?
This is my 5th year, yeah.
Oh my God, that's crazy. So what would you say to people, right? Like you're going to Sleepaway camp. You've never gone before, like what should people expect at a Sleepaway camp?
Well, when I first went there, I didn't go with any friends, and I feel like, to be honest, that's a lot better than going with hometown friends, because if anything happens, then you can just walk away from it. But if you don't go with any friends, then it opens you up to all the new people, and it's so much easier to make friends than you think it is. And over the past 5 years, I've had a unique experience every time, and I've made so many new friends. I've had so many new friends. I know last year I made a group of 4 girls that are my best friends in the entire world, and you guys know who you are. I don't know if you're watching this, but I love you guys. And then this year, this is probably my favorite year. I made so many amazing friends, and it really is amazing. As long as you're just really social, as long as you don't keep yourself cooped up, then you'll have a great time.
Well, so some of those friends that you made though, they were European, right? They weren't just from America.
Oh yeah, we had a lot of Frenchies and Hispanics, and one of my best friends at camp was Hispanic. She's from Spain. No, she's from Barcelona, Spain. And her name was Danny, and I loved her so much. But it was definitely a tiny bit of a challenge to when you're explaining something to them, they're repeat. But for the most part, they were all amazing at English. I could barely understand what they were saying if they ever had conversations together in their own native language.
Yeah, that makes sense. You're horrible at Spanish. Yeah, you were in my Spanish class last year. That was, oh my God, that Spanish class.
We're terrible at Spanish too.
But yeah, no, I mean, Spanish was an awful time last year. Oh my God, I'm sorry, but our teacher, he was
Oh, no, he was really, really nice when he wasn't teaching us Spanish. When he was teaching us Spanish, it was terrible. But when he wasn't, it was really fun. Sorry.
No, he was something though. He was a funny fella. So with Sleepaway Camp though, right? Kind of walk us through almost how you've been able to get more used to that sort of environment year by year, because I'm sure you weren't so attuned to that right away in the first year. I know I wasn't.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I mean, it's definitely different. So there's 2 different campuses. There's teen side and main side, and I think they're both their own different experience. But the main thing is that you have to get used to the camp food, and your bowels would definitely have to adjust. Personally, it wasn't that big of a problem for me, but for other people, it's definitely a serious issue. So everyone always makes jokes about that. But another thing is probably just getting used to being outside all the time. I know coming home, I was I feel really unproductive not being outside, and I got a crazy tan too. But you're doing everything outside. And at camp, you're also always talking to people. And I remember when I came back home, I talked to my friend Lily, and I was just explaining everything to her. And I don't know, it just felt really weird not being with 20 people at a time, because there's so few times when you're not with all your friends. Because when you're at sleepaway camp, you're always with each other, and that's great. And I was so lucky for us to have no drama this year. It was amazing. I just had such amazing friends. But also, if you're there and there is drama, it gets really toxic really fast. So I feel that's one of the things that's nice about going home. You kind of get a break from everything. But that really wasn't an issue for me this year.
Yeah, I know with Sleepaway Camp, when I was there, the drama it moves so quickly.
Yeah.
Because when you're there for 4 weeks, it's you take drama and you just put it on steroids, because you're always with each other. While at school, you're with people at school for like the amount of time of like a week.
Like a day at camp is like a week.
At school with people.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And like things happen in days that like take like a camp relationship can happen and like escalate as fast as like a relationship at home can escalate in like months.
Yeah.
Like it's everything just moves like 20 million times faster.
Yeah. And it's just like, I don't know. I remember the big thing for me was, you mentioned the camp food. The first year I went there, I kid you not, I did not take a shit for the first 2 weeks. I literally,
a lot of people.
I could not go to the bathroom, go number 2 for 2 weeks. The first time I like went number 2 was after we took a field trip and I got McDonald's. That's how bad it was. It makes no sense.
To change the topic a little bit, this year, like, they, like, didn't make enough food, so they, like, fired all the kitchen staff. There's a lot about the kitchen staff that I know that I shouldn't know. But they fired, like, the chef and the kitchen staff and all that, and then they got new kitchen staff, so the chef was, like, really good. And one of my counselors, like, wouldn't stop talking about how the chef was vegan. She was like, oh, my God, the chef's amazing. So, like, the food actually was, like, really good. One time, they had chicken tikka masala for lunch, and it was actually the best thing I've ever had in my time. It was so good.
Yeah, no, but a lot of camps, so they do split it into multiple sections. And so, yeah, for the way our camp was, but main side, teen side.
There's not a lot of camps that do, like, a whole separate teen side with its, like, yeah, there'll be, like, separate areas, but they don't, like, we have, like, a totally different pool. Like, the only things we share, like, maybe 10 activities with the other side. Like, we're really lucky to, like, barely have to see them.
Yeah. I mean, it also kind of sucked because I know in my first couple of years, I saw you guys,
like 3 or 4 times.
Like 3 or 4 times, and that was it. Like,
I didn't mind it.
I know, but I was just kind of like, oh, it like feels a little weird. Like they're here,
but I don't
constantly.
Get to see them.
Yeah, they're not.
I saw Pierce all the time. So you guys don't know, we have a little brother. His name is Pierce, and he's 2 years younger than me, but 4 years younger than Logan. So like for the most part, I've always been on the same side with him. I got like 2 years without him. Like I was on teen side, he was on main side, but this year he was on teen side. Yeah, teen side, and I saw him all the time. And, like, that was good and bad because people, like, I had, like, a lot of friends on, like, teen side, and since I've been there for 5 years, like, a lot of people knew who I was. Like, a lot of people like, oh, you're Chloe, right? And I'd be like, yeah, I'm Chloe. Like, I don't know who you are, but I'm Chloe. And so, like my brother's friends would, like, tell him all these things about me, and, like, they would always know things, and they'd tell Pierce. I didn't really like that. I didn't like how Pierce, like, got to see, like, me outside of home. Like, at home, Pierce thinks that I'm, like, a loser who's really annoying. And at camp, he sees me as, like, this actual person, like, interacting with people and having a lot of friends. And, like, I think that was probably weird for him because he was, like, people kept on telling him that I had all these boyfriends. And he was like, Chloe, like, is that your boyfriend? Like, and I'm like, no, Pierce, it's not my boyfriend. I like kind of, like, keeping him in a little bubble of, like, not knowing, like, who I actually am. Not that, like, it was bad because, like, his friends were just, like, weird, but I just thought it was weird, him, like, knowing more than, like, the bare minimum about me.
I get that. I thought it was kind of cool, though, like, my last year, you were kind of in the same inner circle as me. Because I had, like, my guy friends, you had your girlfriends, but then we all kind of were, like, together a lot.
I didn't like that.
You didn't. I kind of thought that was, like, just, like, it was nice to know, like...
I was okay.
That you were a human being. You know?
Yeah, it was nice. It was honestly, sorry. Wait 1 second. It was nice knowing that, like, Pierce, like, especially during the last, like, 2 weeks, like, I got to see him interact with, like, a lot of, like, friends, and, like, that made me really happy, and I got to see him, like, happy, although he has some interesting fashion choices, but he was, like, really funny, and one time I saw him, like, put his arm around this girl, like, I witnessed it, I was like, oh my God, like, Pierce is pulling, like, I was so proud of him. I was like, wow, that made me, it was really, like, the highlight of my second session. It made me so happy.
Yeah.
But it was weird.
He hung out with her, right?
What?
He hung out with her the other day.
Laura?
Lila.
No, Lila's not the same girl.
Oh.
But, but yeah, it was just really nice to see that, but I didn't like that Pierce knew, like, who I was friends with, and, like, most of the things that, like Pierce's friends told him, though, were, like, just, like, weird and not true. They'd be like, oh, the guy's just hanging out with, like, that's her boyfriend. And I was like, no, it's not my boyfriend. I don't have a boyfriend.
I mean, I think part of, like, what guys like to do is they love to, like, I think just something that teens like to do in general. Like we love getting rises out of each other almost. And like
Everyone really tried to piss Pierce off because Pierce was like, you're like to everyone. Okay. So the way that Teenside works is that there's like a lower half with all the younger cabins and there's like an upper half of the quad. And it's not actually split, but it's basically split. Like all the people in the younger cabins hang out with the younger boys and all the girls and boys on the older cabins hang out with the older people. And so people would be like, oh, you're Pierce's sister, like, oh my God, like, da-da-da-da-da. And then all the other people would be like, oh my God, that's Chloe's brother. And, like, people don't really know a lot about Pierce, but Pierce's friends knew too much about me. And they all of Pierce's friends in his cabin had, like, a really big crush on me. And they would say some really disturbing things in their cabin.
Oh,
and
no.
poor Pierce, I felt so bad for him. But yeah, I just thought it was really interesting how, like, Pierce's friends, like, I don't know, I was like, oh, that's Pierce's sister. Like, that's Purple Shirt.
Yeah, no, I feel awful for certain people, like, when they have a sibling on camp, like, on Teenside with them, especially if it's a sibling of the opposite gender, like, you are screwed. Like, my last year, there was this one guy. He was like the nicest guy. He was almost like the dad of the cabin, right? And his younger sister,
yeah,
you know who I'm talking about.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so his younger sister
I hated her.
was the most crushed and sought after girl in the entire camp.
Oh my gosh, she was so annoying.
And because of that, the kinds of things that people said in the cabin right in front of this guy, like, oh my God, it was awful. Huh? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, I hated her. She
Yeah.
was really mean to me.
Why? What did she do?
She was just like not nice. Like, she would like pick and choose. She reminds me a lot of like a couple other girls that I know that you don't know. But she would like pick and choose like the people. I just burped. Pick and choose the people that she would like be really nice to, and if she didn't like you wouldn't know. Like, she wouldn't say anything, but like the way that she would like look at you and the way that she would like purposely ignore you, it just like, I really wasn't that close to her, but it just like ticked me off. Like, I really didn't like that she like didn't even get to know me, and like it was visible that like even if she barely knew who I was, like she was like, I don't like that girl.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that was like that for a lot of people. Like, you either hated her or you like loved her.
Yeah.
And like I feel like that's like, I don't know, I wouldn't want to be that type of person. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I mean,
and the brother was so
I know
nice.
I didn't really know her at all, but a lot of guys in my cabin had a crush on her. And then I just remember she was mean to some of the other girls I was friends with that year. And then I didn't like her because of that, because I was like, oh, this girl's being bitchy to these people. Like, I don't like her. She's a bad person. So yeah, I mean, that was a thing. But yeah, just like camp drama.
His brother, her brother was so nice.
Yeah.
So nice. And one time I told him, I was like, you know, your sister's like really mean, right? And he was like, I've heard a lot of things. And I was like, you probably have. And like, I felt bad for him, but like, she was just, it was so, I like couldn't even fathom how like they were such like opposites of each other.
But they were really good siblings to each other. Like, whenever I saw them, they were
I barely
great
saw
to
them
each
talk
other.
to each other. Like, it was obvious that they were siblings, but
Yeah.
like I never saw them to each other.
I saw them talk to each other a couple of times, and like when they did, they were like good siblings. But yeah, like they were nothing alike. It seemed like I don't know. I mean, this is super niche, but it's weird how that can like be a thing. How siblings can be like that almost.
What do you mean?
Just like how they can be like super opposite of each other, but also like get
Work
along
so
really
well
well.
with each other?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, I don't know. But
I
yeah,
feel like
so
it's just a lot different. That's why I didn't like that like Pierce like saw the other side of me, because I really like how like at home he thinks I'm just like really weird and like I have like no friend. Like, I'm sure in his head that I'm like an absolute loser, and like I like that. Like, I like Pierce thinking that he's like a big like deal in like my world, and like I like him thinking that like, you know what I mean? Like at home, like I only see you. Well, you I see in school, but like I only see him at home, and like that's the only opinion I have about him, and I like that that's the only thing that he sees of me. You know what I mean? Like I don't want him to see me. Not that I'm any different, but I just feel like I don't know. It's weird.
But that's gonna change next year, anyways. Once I go to college, she's going to high school, and he's gonna see you a bunch. You know, so it was gonna happen at some point. So anyways, though, let's segue a little bit into high school, because you had a lot of stuff going on this year, I feel like.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean...
So, like, you want to walk us through your freshman year of high school?
My freshman year of high school.
Walk us through.
So, we're going to talk about this a little later, I think. But I had a really unique experience because in middle school, and I am nowhere near the person I was in middle school. I mean, no one is, but I really have changed I really have. Especially since, like, 8th grade or something like that. So anyways, I did not like our middle school at all, and I really wanted to, like, switch middle schools. And I was like, Mom, like, I really want to switch middle schools. And she was like, that's not happening. And then the next year, I was like, I really need to switch middle schools. Like, I really don't like it here. Like, I don't like the teaching style. I don't like the people that I'm surrounded with. Like, I'm just not a fan. And so I finally moved middle schools, and definitely mixed feelings. Like, now that I'm out of that school, I have probably like a total of like 5 or 6 people that I like am still pretty close with from that school, and that I just like really love and I have so much love for. But there's also a lot of people that I really don't like for like a lot of reasons, and there's definitely a lot of trauma I have from that school. But the really unique experience that it gave me was giving me a clean slate into high school, and I feel like a lot of people kind of like, I feel like once you get into middle school, your like place and like the hierarchy that is public school is kind of like set in stone. And whether that's for like the good or the bad, like whatever. But I had a really unique experience because I knew everyone and everyone knew who I was, and everyone knew that I was a totally different person. They were like, wow, like Chloe's coming back to our school. And like I feel like I got to make friends with so many people that I probably never had been if I had stayed in that school. And I feel like that just gave me so many experiences. And I definitely started off like, so when I first got to school, my big friend group was the cheer friend group, and they were so amazing. I love them so much, especially there's like 2 or 3 girls that you know exactly who you are. I love you guys so much. You're like my favorite people ever. But I'm definitely like very grateful that I was really close to these girls. Like we all only like exclusively hung out with each other for like maybe until February. And that's when I felt like I was kind of like being like pushed out of that friend group. And like at first I was really sad because I was like, oh, like they don't like me, like what did I do wrong, like da 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 da. And like when you're a 13-year-old girl and like you've had those really close friends, like, or a 14-year-old girl, and you've had those really close friends for like half the school year, and you feel like that you're kind of being pushed away from that friend group, it really stresses you out. And you're like, well, like what do I do now? Like I don't have any other close friends, like you guys are my number ones. And then I was like, you know what, maybe this for the better. Like obviously they really did. Well, I don't know. I feel like it was just like I feel like I wasn't meant to be friends with a lot of them, and I feel like they probably felt the same way about me. Like we were just very different people. Like obviously we have the common interest of cheer, but for the most part, like they're so much different than me. And like I'm like they're all really close friends, and like I'm so happy for them, and I'm so happy like for everything. But then I decided, I was like, well, like I'm going to distance myself from like most of these people as well, because I feel like I would be a lot happier if I made different friends. So I like continued to make different friends, and I met like my best friend now, Lily, and like once I became friends with her, like I really wasn't hanging out with the cheer girls like ever. And there's no issue in that. Like really, like I'm sure they have no problem with me. Like I obviously don't have any problem with them, but I'm just so happy that I met her, and I'm so happy that I've met like all the other people that I've met, like specifically her. Like she just totally turned around my freshman year, and she just like made it so memorable, and she made me so happy, especially when I felt like that like I didn't belong in the friend group that I had been with like for so long. And I don't know, she just made me feel really special and important. And I hadn't had like, obviously like I've had like a number of best friends, but in that moment in time, I really didn't feel like I had like that like one person that I could like always go to, that I could always talk to, that like I always like hung out with after school. Like, and when I met her, like I was like, wow, like this is my person. And I don't know, it just made me really happy. And I feel like she was definitely like the thing that I needed to get through like my freshman year of high school.
So wait, did you know her like at all before freshman year?
I did. I was really close friends with her, and I think I was like family friends with her, kind of. Like mom was really close with her mom. when we were really young, like 4th grade, or no, we were in the same 3rd grade class, I think. And that's how we got really close. And then like just, throughout like middle school and stuff, and we weren't in the same color, like obviously we split apart. And it's like all your elementary school friends, like you're probably not friends with a number of them anymore. Like just because, not for any particular reason, just because we split apart. And like she was in my bio class, and I had like barely talked to her until like that January and February, and that's when I started to get like really close with her. So obviously like that was definitely like, I don't know, I feel like I wouldn't have been as likely to like become close with her. I don't know, but I don't know what I'm saying. I don't like this. I'm talking too much.
That's the point, though. That's the point.
But basically, like, I don't know,
Yeah.
I got really close with her, and I happened to be friends with her, but like that didn't really like affect our friendship. You know what I mean? We were just like friends when we were kids, and then we like reconnected.
Yeah, I think I get what you mean. So going off of that, yeah, I mean, I think I'm friends with most of my elementary school friends, actually.
Really?
Yeah, no, I'm like, you got Marius, Samick, Evan. Evan was more middle school, but then Aiden. Those were really my 3 main elementary school friends. I mean, I can think of a few I was friends with when I was younger who I don't talk to anymore, but like those 3 are still some of my biggest, like, best friends to this day.
I could like count on like 16 hands how many girls I was like best friends with when I was a kid, and like I barely talk to anymore. Or like we like comment on each other's Instagram posts, and like, but like in school, like I really have no like common interest with her, and like I really only cross paths with like them in the hall. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so like I'm thinking about like 20 of them right now. Like so many of these girls, like I could like never see myself now being friends with them, and we were like so close when I was little. And I just think that's crazy, like how things like change. So what the fuck? How things change like over time, and like how you just grow apart from people. And it's sad, but also like I don't really think about it that much. Like,
yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
When you do grow apart from people like that, like you're talking about your cheer team, you're talking about your elementary school
Which
friends.
I love all of them, by the way. I don't have any hate for them.
But like just growing apart though,
yeah.
right? Like how should, like, what's a really good way of almost like getting that out of your head in a sense? Like, not letting that freeze you up in a way?
Just making new friends. Like, as long as you're not on bad terms with those people, I have like one girl in my head, which like we're still on really awkward terms for a lot of reasons, which are kind of out of my control. That like every time I see her in the hall, we like make like awkward eye contact with each other, or we make awkward eye contact with each other, and then we kind of like walk past each other, because like so much has happened in the past, and like I couldn't even fathom becoming close with her. But like there's just other people, like if you grow apart, like you'll say hi to them in the hallway. Like I know for most of the cheer girls, at least, like it's like less and less now, but we still like always say hi to each other in the hallway. We still like act like all really close and stuff, like when we're at like practices, or I know we all had to get together for like this like we had to like set up a presentation for like the incoming 9th graders, and like we all got together, and it was really nice. But like I would never see myself hanging out with them outside of school. And I feel like as long as you're not on like bad terms with someone, it really isn't that big of a deal. And high school is like so big that as long as you have your own friends, it really isn't like that big of a deal.
So you're talking about making friends, so like what is a good way for, because I know making friends isn't as easy as like, oh, just make friends. Like,
yeah.
How do you make friends? How have you been able to make the friends that you've made? Like you talk about, Lily, I know you have a lot of other people who you're friends with. Like, what do you feel you've done to be able to make these friends?
Well, if I'm being honest, I feel like I only had like 6 or 7 really close friends that I could like hang out with outside of school. And like other than that, like I mean, like I'm really friendly with a lot of people. And like I acted like they were like my best friend when like we're together in school, but like I don't hang out with them outside of school. And honestly, like for those types of friends, and honestly, like maybe you'll get really lucky and you'll become like you'll make your new best friend. In the beginning of the year, when you have all your new classes, you probably aren't going to be, like, at least for me, like, in all of my classes, it was, like, the same 100 kids. Like, it was pretty much all the same people with, like a little bit of variation. But there was a lot of people that were in, like, 5 of my classes. And you just need to like be really social in the beginning and like just like talk to them. Like I know obviously they have their own separate friend groups and probably have your own separate friend groups, but if you want to branch out, just like talk to them, because by the end of like the first month of school, like you're gonna have like your own little friends in each class. But if you want to become like close with someone or like eat lunch with them or like whatever, like I don't know, like just talk to them and like just be like, oh, like hey, like, or like sit down at their table on like the first day of school and be like, hey, like how are you, like I feel like I've really not talked to you that much. Like small things like that can turn into like, even if it's like small talk, like, oh, like what homework do you have, like what teachers do you have, do we have any classes together, like that could stem into something like so amazing. And like just being able to, I don't know, because like you'll make like one friend and then you'll just like have like small talk with them, and then it'll turn into like you eating lunch with them, and it'll turn into be like doing homework together after school, and then they'll be like that's what happened with me and Lily. Like I know I keep on going back to her, but I don't know if I should like talk about anyone else, because I don't know if they'll want me to. But like I know she'd be fine with it. But we weren't that close in the beginning of the year, and obviously like I talked every once in a while, and we did like group projects together. It was like me and then Mia Slough and then Cosette, and like it was kind of like us four, and then Mia and Cosette kind of like became like a little bit of like a really close pair, and then me and Lily started to become really close pair, and like we from there like we started doing like our bio stuff together. And bio is like a class that you have almost every single day, and when you don't have it, then you have a study hall with those same people. So I would sit with her at study hall, and then we'd start talking about like our drama that was going on outside of school, and then it would turn into like FaceTime calls and like working on homework together. And then like I don't know, like just as long as you're just really social with people and like make small conversation with them, like it could turn into something like so amazing, like what happened with me and Lily, or like what happened with like other people.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. I think a lot of my newer friends I've done in a very, very similar way. So
It doesn't take much either.
yeah, it really doesn't.
Like,
It's like,
if you're in the same class as someone and you like want to be friends with them, like you can be friends with them.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter like who they're friends with. Like it doesn't matter like if you literally have like no like common interest and you like never see them outside of school. If you have the same class with them, you can totally be friends with them. And like who knows, they could be like your new best friend. You could like end up being in their friend group. Like who knows?
yeah, and also like especially if it's like a really boring class, and it's almost it's like suffering together almost. I feel like
Spanish. Although you kind of like sat there and like weren't there half the time, but I made some really good friends. A lot of them weren't even in my grade. Some of them were your friends too. And like Molly.
Yeah, Molly. I actually want to bring Molly on here at some point.
Oh my god, she'd be such a good guest.
Yeah, I think she'd be a really good guest.
I love her so much. She's so cool. Like she would come in every day with her outfits. I'm like, oh my god, this girl's so cool. It's just so nice. Sorry, there's just so many people that I look up to.
Yeah.
But oh my god, something else. There were so many people that I looked up to so much. You know exactly what I'm talking about. When I was a kid, and now I'm like, wow, like they've like now seeing them as like less of an idol and more of like someone on your level. I'm like, wow. It's just crazy how like when you grow up you realize like the realities of someone.
Yeah.
And like what they actually go through, and like kind of like seeing them as like a person and not just like someone that you look up to so much. And like I don't know, it's like so weird growing up and realizing that like people aren't like always who you made them up to be when you were a kid.
Yeah, and also just like people change. Like when you were a kid, I think like those certain people were maybe just like different, and then you just kind of thought that they were always like that, but then they changed.
And honestly, it like makes me really sad because like I saw myself having such an amazing future with like those people, and like when I grew up, I was like, I couldn't even imagine like being friends with this person or like these people. Like I just can't see it happening. It made me really sad, and like sometimes I'd wonder, I'd be like little me would be so upset.
Yeah.
So upset. And I'm thinking of another person now too. It just makes me so sad, like how much people change. Like, but some people, they've changed like for the better so much. Like, I can't really think of anyone right now, but I'm sure there's like so many people that I can like look at and be like, Leah Papakosmas. She was on my cheer team, and she was in 8th grade and I was in 5th grade. And it was a really small cheer team, and I was supposed to be on it because I was so like young and there wasn't enough people on the team I was allowed to be on. And I thought she was so cool and so nice and so funny. And like growing up and seeing her like just like become the most amazing and like sweet person ever, and like see her go to like, I don't know if that was like her dream college, but just see her like go off to, I don't know what it's called, it starts with like an M, and like make all these amazing friends, and like see her become such amazing cheerleader, and like her face when she like became cheer captain, and like all these amazing things, like it just, I was like, wow, like I aspire to be her. Like there's just some people that I'm like, these, like they're so amazing.
Yeah, no,
You know
I
what I
get
mean?
what you mean. And she also did like the pep rally, I
Exactly.
remember.
Like
Yeah.
she's just like such an amazing person, and like those types of people, like you're like I really aspire to be her. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you mean.
And like she had such a positive outlet like on so many things, and like I don't know. There's some people that like I grow up and I'm like, wow, like they're so amazing. Like
Yeah.
I still like today, like I still want to be her so bad.
Yeah, no, I completely get what you mean. I have kind of the same experience with certain people, but more like there are a few people who I met in like high school and I really aspired to be them.
Yeah.
And in certain ways it's still true, in certain ways I'm like, do I still inspire to be them? It's weird, like just the more you interact with people, the more you kind of like learn about them.
Exactly.
Right?
And the more you grow older, you like realize, you like see into like different aspects of their life that you didn't see when you were a kid.
Yeah, exactly.
And like in some ways that could make you sad, but in some ways that could also like really inspire you and be like, wow, like I really like want to be this person. I really what's the word? I really respect the way they like handled this situation and like stuff like that. Like I don't know.
Yeah, no, and I see exactly where you are coming from. So I do actually want to quickly segue to something. This is a little off topic from what the podcast is about, but we're talking about cheerleading a bit. And cheerleading isn't exactly the most popular thing. You know, a lot of people think it's not a sport. So, I mean, what do you think about that? You know, what would you say if somebody was in this room right now, like cheerleading is not a sport?
Well,
What do you
okay.
say?
So let's like, first of all, oh my God. So I can see how some people, especially in our town, see it, because I know when I've been like talking to people like Summer and Sky, they moved from Florida and they were talking about how like cheerleading was like what all like the really like well-known girls did, and like everyone wanted to be a cheerleader, and like if you were a cheerleader you were so cool. And that is like not the case at all at our school, which is fine. Like I think obviously cheer is not big of a deal in Connecticut, like unless you're on like an extreme cheer team. And I know there's like a couple girls in our grade that do it and are like really amazing at it, and they kind of keep themselves about it. Whereas like when you're on the like Wilton Varsity High School cheer team, it's a little different because we aren't like that big. Like there's only like 12 of us. We're really small, and like we don't do what like a really competitive cheer team does. We have a very limited skill like set, but we also work ourselves so hard, especially having like such a small team, and you become so close. Like I would not trade like some of the memories that I've made on that team like for the world. And yes, I have grown apart from them, but they're some of the most amazing people on that team. And like we had some issues with like the coaches. Like we don't have a coach at this moment, so like right now I should have started cheer in April, and like now it's August and I haven't heard any word from it. Like I don't even know if I'm doing cheer this year. But I feel like it definitely is a sport, because it's like 6 sports in one. Not 6, but you're doing jumps and stunts and dance and jumps and stunts and dance, and like you're doing so much like conditioning, just as much as you do in like, I don't know, like lacrosse or like soccer. Like you're doing suicides. Every day we would do like so much stretching. We would do like jumping exercises. We would do like what like regular sports. We would do like push-ups, and like we would have a whole workout routine that we do before and after like practice. So even if practice was like really chill and it was just like stunting and stuff like that, like there is still so much work that goes into it, whether it's like what you see when we're performing or not. Like if we're performing like during a halftime game, like I know October was kind of our peak, and like that's when like we really looked like a really great and cohesive team. And like towards the end, like during basketball season, we weren't as strong, and like we looked more like a pep rally than a cheer team, or not a pep rally, like a pep squad, or like a pom, I don't know, whatever they're called. We didn't really look like cheerleaders as much, but there's so much work goes into it, like, and there's so much like falling, and there's so much danger, and there's so many injuries. Like, that was really the downfall of our team. We have so few girls, and like over the course of like a month, so many girls got like so injured. Like, I know Mia broke her arm. I'm pretty sure that she got like surgery and she's okay now, but she had to get surgery. Like, I know Sky like really hurt her ankle and like was out for like months, and we tried stunting on it like a week after like she had basically almost broken it, and now she still has like permanent like serious issues like in her ankle. Like, so much can happen like in cheer, and it's so dangerous, and it's kind of scary. But I know like what you see, like, it doesn't look that exciting. Like, at least like we're not like that crazy group that does like 16 libs and 16 like extension da-da-da-da-das and like crazy like twist cradles and like all those crazy things. Like, we don't do that because there's not enough people and we don't have enough experience, and like that's fine though. Like, it doesn't matter if like we're doing all that crazy stuff. We still put in so much work. And like, I know that people can see cheer as kind of like a hobby. During our peak, we had practices like 3 times a week for 2.5 hours, and then we would also do like a whole bunch of extra stuff. We had tumbling. We had like 3 practices a week, and then on the weekends we would have like a game, and then we'd also like, I don't know, there was so much work that goes into cheer that people don't see. All you see is like smiling faces and pretty uniforms and shaking your palms. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like it's definitely hard when our team is so small and like we can't do as much as like a team with like 30 girls. But all I'm saying is that there is so much work put into it that you don't see. Like, if you're watching a football game, like, obviously it's not as hard as the practices. Like, at least I don't think so. Like, I know practices are really hardcore. But, like, you can see, like, the work that gets put into that. But for cheerleaders, for cheerleaders, like, you can't show, like, your pain. You know what I mean? Like, you have to look pretty. You have to be smiling. You can't show, like whether, like, you got hurt or not. You have to keep on pushing through. And I know that's goes for like any sport, but I don't know, I just feel like you can't see any of the work that's put into cheer. You can only see the routine, and the routine took so much time, and I feel like a lot of people don't really respect that. Even if it's not like the most amazing routine you've ever seen in your life, it still took so much work. Like, it still took so much sweat and tears and blood. Like, I'm so dead ass. Like, cheer is so hard, and even if like the output isn't like this crazy amazing thing that you could like see on like TV, or like, I don't know, like what you see on like that like cheer documentary, it obviously isn't as hardcore as that, but like we still, like, for our skill set, we still put in so much work and so much effort, and we like push ourselves. Like, we grew so much as a team last year, and like we learned so much, and like guarantee we did lose a lot of our skills after a lot of people got injured, but we still we just put in so much work. And I think that it really is considered a sport. Even though you don't see that, like, I think it should be considered a sport. You know? I don't know.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. And I also agree. I think cheer should be a sport.
Yeah.
So the question is, though, you're a flyer.
Yeah.
Which you can say is, like, the most dangerous position to have in cheer.
Well, I mean,
right?
Being a flyer, I mean, all the other flyers it was 2 juniors and a senior. So I also really was not flexible in freshman year. Like, I don't know what's going to happen this year. But I definitely didn't fly as much as all the other girls, which was fine, because obviously the upperclassmen, like, I respect that. Like, obviously they should be put in because they have more experience than me, and like they've been there for like 3 or 4 years and like all that stuff. But being a flyer definitely is really dangerous, and the 2 biggest injuries I think were from flyers, but also poor Summer, the amount of times she got hit in the face. Like, she's a back spot. And like people would fall backwards, and like she would literally fall to the floor because like she was the only one that was there to like catch us, and she would like grab us, and then she would like fall, and she could like hit her head. I'm pretty sure she got like a couple concussions. Like, there's just, and like bases too, like people like fall on top of you, and you have to like race, and like you have to like put yourself like right. You know what I mean? Like flyers are literally falling on top of you 24/7. Like, of course you're gonna get hurt. But like, if I'm up in the air and they run away from me when they're not catching me, I just fall straight on the ground, like splat.
Yeah. So that's why I wanted to ask you. Do you ever get like worried?
I mean, you can't get worried. Like, up there, you kind of like black out. Like, when you're up there, you're just focused on literally not moving a single bone. Like, one of the I don't think I've ever done a lib like in front of a crowd because I'm just not that good at them. But every time I'm up there, like the only thing you could focus on is like looking straight. Like you have to pick a point. Like I could pick that golf ball over there. Like you just stare at it and you can't look anywhere else because if you do, you'll fall. So you can't really worry about like who's in front of you and like what's going on around you, because if you do, you'll fall. So like, yeah, in that case you're worried, but like when you're up there, the only thing you're thinking about is not moving and staying tight. And like you can't really realize like what you just did like until you're like back on the ground. So like I feel like you're more worried like before and afterwards than you are when you're up in the air. You know what I mean? And there's also like so much adrenaline. Like if you do fall, you probably won't feel it like right away.
Yeah. Okay. I get where you're coming from for sure on that. All right. So we just had a minor camera issue. Her camera died on us. So
sorry guys.
Yeah, we had to get a new battery, and the new battery didn't work. So then we had to go and plug it in. So now the camera is plugged in. It is doing fantastic. And so yeah, we're gonna be getting right back into it. So Chloe, wrapping things up here, you know, what do you wish you did differently freshman year? What do you wish that you knew going into freshman year that you now know?
I honestly just wish that like I could just give myself a friendly reminder that some of the people that I like put all my energy in and all my effort in weren't going to be as significant in my freshman year than I like kind of expected them to be, which is okay. Like things happen for a reason, and like and again, like I have no issues with any of these people that I know of. But I just wish I like let myself know. I was like, I think it would be better if you branched out a little bit, especially in the beginning of the year. Like I'm really proud of myself for the way that I was able to branch out in the middle of the year, and the way I think the semester change was also really good. And the way that I was able to kind of like turn around my perspective and like become a little closer, like not like crazy close with anyone besides like a couple people, but like I was still able to kind of like push away from like my really tight like cheer friend group that felt almost like suffocating to me at sometimes. And I was able to make like a lot of new friends, even if they were just like school friends that I had like small talk with. It was still really nice to be able to like branch out of that. And I saw a couple other girls on the team, they were able to do the same thing, and it made me really happy. I was like there is like more to like my friends than just like these cheer people, because obviously like they were amazing and they like helped me through like the beginning of my like freshman year. They really like kickstarted me, especially because a lot of them were like older girls. Like they really helped me through it. But like once cheer kind of like died down a little bit, I'm really glad that I was able to like branch out and like get to know new people. So I really wish that I could have like told myself to maybe try to do that a little bit more in the beginning of the year. But like I'm glad like everything like panned out the way it did. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's amazing though that you were able to like be able to do that, you know, to middle of the year be able to find those new friends.
Yeah.
I know a lot of times like that's something that can be a struggle, you know,
Yeah.
being able to have people who you think are going to be some of your best friends and then kind of realize that they just aren't fit for you.
Mm-hmm.
And then that kind of trying to transition into finding new friends, that can be very extremely difficult.
Yeah.
For some people. So it's great that you were able to do that. And yeah, you know, with that being said though, like what do you hope to now get out of, you know, like sophomore through senior year? What do you want, like what do you want to do, I guess?
Well, I kind of hope to like continue on that path of like making and branching out to like new people. And I really hope I make a little bit more of like a cohesive friend group than I did this year, because I have like a lot of like people that I don't know if I'm as close with, and a lot of my like closer friends, like I know like I have my friend Brianna, who I went to Fatima with, who I'm so grateful that she's still in my life because I love her so much. I'm hanging out with her on Friday. She's not even like at my school, which is fine. And like I also have like a couple of Fatima girls, like there's Brianna and Audiana and Justine, and like kind of those are like the three girls that I'm still super close. I'm probably missing some. Oh, and Karina. Oh my god, of course Karina. She goes to my school, and I was also really close with her. But there's a couple of Fatima girls that I was like super close with. That I don't know what I was saying. What was I saying? Okay, so I feel like that there is like some girls that I'm really close with that don't even go to my school. Like Karina does, but I really hope I create more of like a cohesive friend group, and I like make more closer friends, because right now I probably have like 3 or 4 really close friends that go to my high school, and I'm really hoping to kind of just like continue to like make a whole bunch more and just get to know people more. And I feel like, and also just like get to know people like out of school too. Like I think it's so great that I have like my out of school friends and my camp friends. I made so many amazing camp friends this year, which I can tell I'm gonna be like friends with them for life. And I'm like so internally grateful for that.
Yeah.
But I think it's really important to like have like a whole bunch of really close friends that go to your school and also that don't go to your school. And I feel like I have a really great variety of that, and I'm just hoping I like hope to continue that and like try to minimize toxic relationships as much as I can and like get out of them like really quickly and just have like very positive 3 years and like obviously focus on my schoolwork. I don't know. I just really want to surround myself with positive people. And I feel like towards the end of the school year I was really able to like do that and like cut people out of my life that I feel like we weren't benefiting each other anymore. And like again, like I don't think there's anyone right now that I'm on like bad terms with. Like I feel like I just have grown apart from so many people. And I'm just so glad that I was able to find those people, and I hope that I continue to do that in like my next 3 years. You know?
No, I completely see where you're coming from. Well, thank you, Chloe, for being the first ever guest. I think that you gave a lot of very like insightful kind of information just like about your high school and sleepaway camp experiences. And yeah, I hope listeners, if you are still listening, this has been helpful for you guys too. So yeah, I mean, next episode we're going to be joined by my boy Seiji. He's going to be joining this podcast. Do you ever meet Seiji?
His name's Seiji?
Seiji.
Oh.
You don't know Seiji? Yeah,
no.
Well, it's my boy right there. He's going to be on the next episode. So yeah, stay tuned. Probably going to be talking about cars, talking about social anxiety, things like that. So yeah, I will see you guys around on the next podcast. Thank you everyone for listening.
Bye guys.